On this Ask Sam, I'm here to explain to you that you can sleep however you want to. Alright, not really a question, not our normal format, but sometimes you need a little rah-rah pep support that you can do the things that make sense for you. Something that's really common, whether we're talking about sleep or we're talking about like relationships or sex and all kinds of things. We're really determined we're pressured by societal norms. Society puts a bunch of rules on us that we feel we have to follow. And learning that we don't have to follow them is really important, and it can be kind of groundbreaking for a lot of people. It's not always obvious when we're following rules that are completely arbitrary and often do nothing to serve anybody's good, and yet they're there and we feel a lot of pressure to follow them. Sometimes we feel that pressure even if we say it. You should do this thing. Well, no, I feel this pressure. I shouldn't do that. It feels wrong. And sometimes it's just that you have a pattern that you never considered breaking. So let's talk about just a few with sleep, because it's worth noting that these things are just societal norms and nothing more. For one, people assume they have to sleep under the blankets. Get in under the sheet, under the blanket, your head on a pillow, your feet towards the door. If I say this, you'll say, I never thought about the fact that I had to put my feet towards the door. That seems weird. No, I do have to put my feet towards the door. In every sleep situation, go into any hotel, any house, anywhere, any place you have ever seen a bed, the feet of the bed, the foot of the bed goes towards the door. The feet of the sleepers go towards the door, whether at an angle or directly, but you never put the head towards the door. It would be weird. In fact, your head pretty much always goes up against a wall, sometimes a headboard, but the headboard's probably against a wall, and your feet are exposed to the middle of the room towards the door. The thought is we want our heads protected in the corner, our feet are what are exposed, and this somehow makes us feel safer. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but that is where it comes from, and a lot of people, architects and interior designers, this is a rule that they know you have to design rooms with beds going this way. And for a lot of people, it feels more comfortable doing that, but you need to consider, do you actually feel more comfortable because of that, or do you feel more comfortable because you've always been taught that that's what you do? Every child grows up with their feet towards the door anytime they go to sleep, anywhere that they go to sleep, and eventually it becomes something we internalize, but it isn't necessarily something that anybody has thought about. This is really interesting. For me personally, I have found that I don't like to sleep that way for a lot of reasons, but the main one is that I like to have more airflow around my head. My feet will get cold, and by putting them towards a corner, there tends to be less air movement, and they will stay warmer, but my head tends to get warm, and I want air to move around it and help make me cool, and by having my head in the middle of the room, I'm more likely to be under a ceiling fan, I'm more likely to be in a breezeway, I'm more likely to just have open air around me. I don't want a headboard, I don't want the wall, I want a lot of open, just moving air, and it makes me more comfortable. I don't fear things in the darkness in my room, so I don't need to sleep with my head into a corner to make it feel protected. That would be strange for me, but I understand why some people feel that way. And this is where we all can sleep in our own way. We don't have to follow the same patterns. I also find that by having my head in the middle of the room, I am more connected with my space. I'm more likely to be able to see down a hallway or look at a door or notice lights coming on and off, and I just feel more connected to things around me, and I like to feel connected. Some people like to be disconnected when they sleep, right? All of these things are okay. It's about finding what makes sense for you. Similarly, we often feel we need to sleep on a mattress. Of course, mattresses are promoted by mattress manufacturers, which is big business. So a lot of money has gone into convincing us we need to sleep on mattresses. And of course, mattresses must go on box springs. Box springs have to go on a frame. There's a lot of money and design that goes into finding ways for us to sleep in really expensive situations. This doesn't necessarily make sense. Sure, some people really like that, and now there's a trend to have beds that are super tall and all kinds of toppers and special things that go on them. It seems really neat, but are those beds actually more comfortable, and do they actually help us sleep compared to other ways of sleeping? For me, I find sleeping on a floor, if it's carpeted and wood, to be quite comfortable. I actually, in many cases, prefer it to having a mattress. If I do have a mattress, I prefer it on the floor. I don't like having to climb up into a bed, and I don't like the fear of falling off of one. I do like being close to the floor so that I know I can roll out of bed. If I feel I need more space, I can simply drape a hand or a foot over the side and rest it on the floor. So all kinds of things. Now, if you live in a place where there's lots of insects that may be on the floor, you may want to get away from that floor more. And if you live in a place that's cold and you have no insects to worry about on your floor, you may like it better. Your mileage will vary. My point is not that there's a better way to sleep than mattresses, it's that it may not be the thing that works for you, and that's okay. For me, I spent a lot of years working in a place where I was allowed to sleep, but no bed was provided during my shift. And so by putting towels on a floor, I was able to sleep a lot more than if I didn't, and I became used to it and found that it was good for my back. I found it generally comfortable, and it kept me nice and cool when I slept, so it became a pattern that I liked, and I spent many years of my life sleeping that way. When I first had a bed, a real bed made for me, when I had my own house, I missed sleeping on the floor, but I needed something that appeared to look like a bed. I had a custom-built platform that basically raised the floor in the shape of a bed in the middle of my bedroom so that I could put blankets on it, and when people walked by, it looked like a nice comfy mattress. It was actually a completely solid wooden platform so that I could mimic being on the floor without actually being on the floor, but it was pretty low so that you could not fall off and have it be a big problem. It was also extra large. I like a lot of space when I'm sleeping, which might be another reason why I like the floor. It's the biggest space you're going to get inside of a house. By having a custom-built platform bed, I was able to have something with 6 inches additional in every direction, which was really, really nice. I like to be able to have a dog climb into bed with me. I like to be able to have a phone in bed with me, and I like places to be able to put them. I don't want to have to keep it under my pillow or keep it in my hand all the time. It's one of the many things that make me quirky with how I sleep. The point is, again, you can sleep how you want to. Maybe it's when you sleep can be different. Maybe your position in the bed can be different. Maybe the use of a bed could be different. The pillows could be different. Maybe you don't want a pillow. Maybe you want a towel. Maybe you want a fan on you, maybe you want air conditioning, maybe you want to sleep really warm or really cold. All of those things, you can experiment and find what works for you. Feel free to shake up your life and do something different. Thanks for joining me. This is Ask Sam. As always, I'm here to empower you, whether it's finding new ways to think about relationships and sex, or it's just finding a better way to sleep. It's about breaking out and discovering what makes sense for you. Like, subscribe, ask your questions, leave your comments. I'll see you with the next question.